Okay, so this is the second part I'd like to do in my how to learn English ideas, and I think this would be the second most basic thing to learn about English is that our lowercase alphabet, so our lowercase symbols, which are 26 of them, and they are much more popular than, or much more widely used than the uppercase. So these ones are the more popular than uppercase letters, because uppercase letters only come at the beginning of sentences and for titles and stuff, whereas the rest of the words are lowercase. For example, the lamp is on. The lamp is on. This is the only capital letter that's used, and the rest of them are all lowercase or small. So this is a big letter, and the rest are small with a period at the end. Here's another example. I wish I could get a coffee. The only two capital letters in here are the beginning of the sentence, and whenever you refer to yourself, the pronoun I, instead of using your proper name, like John or Jack or Michael, you refer to yourself as I, then you always capitalize that. You don't capitalize you or he, she. You only capitalize your own personal pronoun. So most writing is done in English in the lowercase, so it's probably the one that should be mastered before the uppercase. Notice the spaces between each letter is somewhat small, whereas the space between words is a little bit bigger. So here would be another sentence. The space between words are bigger than between letters. So here is a big space to indicate a different word, and there's only a small space to indicate a different letter within each word. So the way to master lowercase is to sort of imagine what I drew last night, and that is a line with a dotted line, and then another line. Oops, we'll do that again. Line, dotted line, solid line. Just like I had for the capital A, for instance, and a small a would look like this. And then a P, a small p, for instance, goes down to the next interval, and then what would continue would be the first line of the top of there. So I'll show you on the paper, for instance. So here's an example of A, and well, you don't get down to it until you see, for instance, J. The small j, the curve, the crook of the letter would come right in the middle, one interval between the two letter columns here, or rows. So here's a capital A, and this is a small a. It's a C, a small c with a tail. Small c with a tail. So most lowercase letters incorporate, or many of them incorporate, this sort of middle line. If you do it this way, it's 2 brush strokes, and then you lift, and that's 2. I do it in 1. I don't lift. I go up straight and come back down. So I go up and come back down. Don't go that high. If you go up that high, that's a D. A D, so don't do that. You just, right there. Okay, a B. That's a capital B. A small b, you just don't have the top part. You could also, I suppose, do a backwards C and then have a tail or a straight line. C, you can see here. C, C just below that dotted line. D, that's a capital D. A small d, again, is like a C with a big tail all the way up. So again, that's 2 brush strokes. 1, 2. I just do that. Straight up and then back down. Straight up and then back down. 1 brush stroke. This is probably the proper way to do it, but again, it takes more time. So as you get better, your speed will increase. Okay, E. Sorry, this is a little bit shorter. This is the full length. Okay, so that's a capital E. A small e or a lowercase e does not go above that line. It splits the line and then comes around in a C. So splits that line in half and then swings back around and makes a C. So split this line in half and then come around and make a C. That's an E. F. So this is a capital F, just like an E, except for it's missing this part here. So F. This is a small f. So it's, in my way of doing it, or what I would think would be the right way to do it, it's 3 strokes, 1, 2, 3. But in reality, I go 1, 2. Now, some people might go like this, 1, 2, 1, 2. So I go that one. Something like that. Like that. That's how I do it. Just very quick. Actually, so G is the first time where you encounter the sort of mid-level. So a big G looks like that. A little g looks like that. So it's a C again with a small j tail on it. Now again, I just do 1 up and down, so I don't lift my pen whatsoever. H. That's a capital H. A small h, you do 1 line, just the same as in the capital, and then you make a horseshoe over. Here's without lifting the pen. H. In Europe they say H. Okay, now we're on to I. That's a capital I. A small I, you just draw a straight line down from the middle, and then in the middle between there you cut the middle with a little dot. So you just draw a straight line down from the center dotted line and put a dot above it halfway in the next section. I. J. J, I said, is a capital like that, or a capital with a roof on it. A lowercase j is like an I with a tail or an umbrella bottom. So you start here, come down just like the I, except for you hook around. Like that, a J. K. Now, I believe I said last night, that is my capital K. And my small k, I would make just like that, just skinnier, thinner. But then my wife pointed out that it's actually like this. You use that middle line to make the intersection there. So there's the first letters. Moving on, L. So L is probably the easiest in the lowercase. In uppercase, L looks like this. But in lowercase, it's just a straight line. Those are L's. So for instance, love. M. So capital M. Small m. All below that line. Straight down, hook, hook and straight down. All one motion. So notice that this M takes more time. N. N, you go straight down for a capital and straight up and have a connecting piece. For the small, straight down, follow that line back up and hook around. Straight down, follow that line around and hook up. So you can see a little bit of the top part with a straight line, and then you can see the hook as well. O is also one of the very most easiest probably, along with L, and that is you just do a circle for a capital and you do a circle for a small. There's a D, there's an A, there's a B. So really the circle is useful. There's a P, you'll see. There's a Q. So the circle in this dotted line is an important symbol. This is P. P for capital. You just take that same movement and move it down. So it's the exact same movement, but you just move it down into that dotted line and then a theoretical dotted line there. Q. Now I'll show you two ways. You can see I do mine. Okay, so this is a Q capital. A small q would look like a C or a circle with a line straight down, just like a P, and then a little 45-degree back up. So now you could also do a circle, come straight down. That's a Q. Here's how I do it. I go and sort of do it in the writing way. See, this is a G. Well, G and Q. I'll get into that with the handwriting. R. For a capital R, it looks like this. For a small r, it's a straight line, back up, and a little hook. R. S, very easy. It's exactly the same except for within the confines of the smaller section for the S. So it's just like a snake. T. So a T, capital T goes like this. A small t goes like this. Straight line, across in the middle. T. Like a cross. U. U goes all the way up and then down in a straight line. Here, a small u is exactly the same thing, except for below that dotted line again. You could go and then lift and then come back down. So just like I always get my u's, and I do a u like this and a v like this. So you can see that there's a sharp point on the v and there's a curve to the u. So a v, capital V, looks like this, and a small v looks like this. Moving along, we're almost at the end of the alphabet. So a capital W looks like this. A small w is just one motion. You don't even have to go all the way up to the top in the middle. So like that, a hook, and then a second hook all the way up to the top here. X is very easy. Capital X, small x. All within those confines of that little dotted line. Y, you can see here I did it two different ways. I'll show you. This is how I would do it. That's a capital Y. But that could be an option too. A V on the top with a straight line down. A small y, you do the same thing that I did, a 45 with a cross 45 like that with a double the length. It's a y, and that would go down to the theoretical middle point. And finally, we have Z. Capital Z, small z. It's exactly the same movement again within the smaller part. So any sentence starts with a capital. The boy ran to the store to buy some food. Every single one of these letters are lowercase other than the first letter, which indicates the beginning of a sentence. He spent all of his money. In this case, the only capital is at the beginning of the sentence as well. So the next step, if you want to learn English, is to start writing words either with a capital sentence or a capital letter at the beginning. For instance, boy or boy. cat, cat. Quiche, or quiche. Wall, or wall. I would start with 3-letter words. Well, first of all, I'd start with the alphabet and then go maybe to 2-letter words. 2 versus 2. High versus high. And then maybe get on to start writing some words. So I would look at a book, and an English book, and write words out. For instance, soda stream, and whatever, hammer mill. That's the name of the paper I'm using. So hammer mill, international paper. So start trying to write out words as you see them, as you read them in a book or something, magazine.